Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SimSpeed TV here on a Sunday evening with a, well, one-off event for the time being at the very least, but something new for us here and something potentially new for the winner of tonight's race. Welcome to the Formula RX8 Esports Challenge presented by Slipstream Autosports and Yellow Express, hosted here on iRacing tonight from the virtual Mount Panorama circuit, where one of our winner tonight at the end of the event will get a chance to run in a real-life Mazda Formula RX8 car. So there is some interesting prizes up for grabs here tonight. My name's Daniel Yeaman, Jay Kennedy on cameras, and also joining me on the microphone as well for this one this evening here. Drivers just getting started in practice now, Jay, so we've got a bit of time before we really get into the action as it goes. But 40 drivers in the iRacing Mazda Global MX-5 Cup car are going to be out on circuit tonight, duking out to see who can come out at the end of it in P number 1.
Yeah, winner takes all for this event, and a little bit of a heat format to go through, which we'll go through in just a moment. But firstly, the track doesn't need much introduction, but Mount Panorama circuit is one of the most iconic pieces of bitumen within Australia and New Zealand and all of Oceania. It's 6.213 kilometers in length, 23 turns. One thing that we've said for years and years and years, you can tell how iconic and how amazing a racetrack is based by how the corners are named. The fact that we don't know the corners by their numbers, we know them all by name. It's an absolutely amazing piece of road, and this is going to be very, very fun. We have broadcast MX-5 racing here from Mount Panorama before, and it has been absolutely chaotic, exciting and entertaining. I'm looking forward to this.
I mean, yeah, without a doubt, low-powered car means the draft will be strong here. Not just up and down the Mountain Straight and Conrod Straight, but I wouldn't be too surprised if we see the draft actually taking effect as you pass by Sulman Park and work your way across McPhillamy Park as well. That's what we're talking about when it comes to performances. So realistically, it is going to be about being able to look after yourself and stay in the pack. If you fall off the back, you are out of it, unfortunately, barring some major trouble, basically taking out an entire pack of cars ahead of you here. And in saying that, we do have 4 opportunities potentially for that to happen here tonight, because we do have ourselves a fairly lengthy knockout process pretty much to whittle our way down from the 40 drivers that will start this evening with a chance to get their way to the final. But only 24 drivers will make it. So as I said, in the middle of practice, got 15 minutes left or just under that at this time. So we will have a bit of, well, pardon me, I might keep going, as it were, whilst we're in the middle of practice, but then it's 15 minutes of open qualifying. Now, that's also going to be interesting to me, Jay, because yes, 15 minutes sounds like a decent amount of time, but I'm expecting, last time I saw MX-5s at Bathurst, they were lapping in the low 2-minute 30s. So, and given the fact we've got heat races tonight, they're not going to get 15 minutes plus a lap. It is 15 minutes, hard cut. So that will mean that we're looking at possibly only 4 attempts at a flying lap, maybe a 5th if they time it right and they're on the pace, and maybe I'm not quite right on that estimate. So that's, I think, the first big thing is there's not going to be a lot of chances to get their qualifying lap right, and that will dictate which heat they are sent into. Drivers first, third, fifth, and so on in qualifying will be sent through to Heat 1. Second, fourth, sixth, and so forth will be sent through to Heat 2. And then we'll take the 20 cars in each heat. Top 10 from both heat get a direct invitation to the final. And then a final 15-minute race to determine the final 4 drivers to go through to the final as well for that 20-minute, 24-car final race of the evening to decide who will be our winner of this event.
Yeah, and the prize is pretty spectacular as well. So, looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. But yeah, the prize is some laps in a Mazda RX8, which is a very, very cool prize. I wouldn't mind that myself. Would be very, very cool to win that and have a bit of a drive around Winton Motor Raceway in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, very true. That fact that we're taking the sim to real world pathway with this event here tonight, a chance for the lucky winner, or not lucky necessarily. There might be a little bit of luck depending on how the drivers approach the racing here tonight, but you'd hope it's down to skill more so than luck that we have a winner at the end of it all tonight. But yeah, they will be the driver there, so gets the chance to walk away with an invitation to Winton Motor Raceway to drive a Formula RX8 car in real life and see if they can convert their simulation pace into a bit of real world pace as well. So one of the things I think might be worth doing is actually run us through the entry list of the drivers that made it through into this qualifying session, because there are 40 drivers. That is a fair few to get through, but you can start rifling them off, I guess. And I'll start actually and literally just work through them 1 to 40. How does that sound? Because we had a field spread pre-qualifying for the event happening at Winton Motor Raceway to bring you up to speed if you didn't know about this already. And the fastest time sitting at a 1 minute 30.6. Unfortunately, don't have any more decimal places to name than that. But fastest driver at that session was Tane Venables. I haven't actually seen Tane race for quite some time, and unfortunately can't see him in the server just yet. So we'll get back to him at some point. But yeah, fastest driver there, and the only driver listed as doing a 1 minute 30.6 at Winton for the pre-qualifying phase. Thomas McMillan and Damon Woods sharing a 1 minute 30.7 to be our next 2 drivers in. Damon probably needs not too many introductions to those who have been watching iRacing esports broadcasts and watching the top end of town, as it were, for sim racing events and special events on iRacing, as well as other leagues and the like. Racing here tonight, at least on my end, in Eclipse Sim Sports colours, the Therma 56. And he's also currently got the fastest time in practice, Jay, of a 2 minute 32.4. So if that is indeed an accurate estimation of what we're going to see from qualifying as well, yeah, we're only looking at 4 laps these drivers are going to get to be able to put a time down in that qualifying to sort out who goes to Heat 1 and who goes to Heat 2.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time in qualifying, but then again, it's only 20 cars in each heat, so qualifying is not going to be the be-all and end-all. You just have to finish in that top 10, then the final race is where it's all going to count. So Dylan Burst just going to P1 as well, so qualifying is going to mean a lot less than it would in other races because of the way that the night is going to progress. But yeah, there's a lot of runners in this field that are right up there and have real big chances of winning this. There's probably 15 names straight away you look at, you go, yeah, they're a legitimate chance of winning this.
I mean, yeah, actually, this is you and I had an interesting time sort of going, like, how many drivers do we know off the list versus how many we were sort of going, hadn't heard of them in a while or hadn't heard of them before, and whether it had been a while or it hadn't been a while since we'd seen some of them as well. We continue to watch here. I believe it's just still watching Damon here, yep, as he comes down into the chase in the middle of the race. So already halfway there, time starting to tick by nicely, and curious to see how things go. And whilst it'll be you and I on the commentary, we do have, of course, Ivan Vantagiato who's joining us here from Slipstream Autosport, and also Formula RX8, who's put on the event for us here tonight. So I guess in a sense, yeah, thank you very much. I guess thanks to Ivan for being here to have a chat with us during practice, and also, yeah, for putting on the event. I guess, can you sort of explain a little bit more about how the event came together for the drivers who have made it here tonight?
Oh, thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to see some of these drivers, the lap times that they've put together over the 3 nights of qualifying. It's spectacular, and I think we're on for a show tonight. It's a big prize up for grabs, and I wouldn't want to be them coming down Conrod on the final lap of that final race tonight. But basically, Slipstream Motorsport believes that esport drivers can compete in real-world national championships and be competitive. And so we're here tonight to start that journey. And the winner of tonight's finale will actually test drive a Formula RX8 car at Winton on March 8 and 9, which is super exciting.
100% it is. I mean, yeah, we've seen it definitely across the world. Drivers able to transition from esports and sim racing titles through to real life with other similar programs. I guess the Nissan GT Academy perhaps springs to mind as being one of the more worldwide and most successfully known. But I guess, yeah, coming back to this event, but also, yeah, the Formula RX8 car, not quite heard of it specifically before. So the winner of the event, what can they look forward to with the Formula RX8 car at Winton, as you said, on March 8 and 9?
So basically, the Formula RX8 is a brand new national category supported by the High-Tech Super Royals Championship. So it will be live broadcast on Foxtel, KO. It is a one-make national series with a heavy focus on making it as super cost-effective as possible, while having that national exposure to racetracks like Sydney Motorsport Park, Winton Raceway, the Bend, and also the grand finale, which has been confirmed, will be at Bathurst this year on Channel 7.
Well, it'd be interesting to keep an eye out for then in that case. And I guess, yeah, obviously, a new event therefore, which means that I guess it's a foot in the door, starting point. How long has this been planned, I guess, is the other question I probably have to ask at this stage. And are there ambitions beyond, I guess, a successful opening year for this event and the demonstration that we can bring sim racing drivers at the top level over to real life racing and prove that they are competitive?
It's a great question. So from a Formula RX8, they've been, I think, well over 7 months in the making, to create a new national category. They've already seen tremendous numbers for Sydney for round 1 at Sydney Motorsport Park on April 19 and 20, which will be a night race. In terms of Slipstream Motorsport, we are only scratching the surface about what we're going to be bringing over the next 6 to 12 months. I don't want to, I'd love to do it in the next 3 months, but we have something really, really big that we are planning towards, which will allow drivers to have an opportunity that's not been seen in the Australian esport realm before. But overall, we are, first things first, we are super excited for tonight and to see who ends up winning tonight's race. We will be very hard on the drivers from a scrutineering point of view. There is a lot at stake for the winner. And don't be surprised if it should come to that race results will be determined by post-race penalties. We obviously don't want that, but should we have to, we will.
Well, there you have it indeed. I would certainly, fingers crossed, that we hope that it comes down to a good race and a clean one to finish off. Well, across the night, I should say as well. We don't necessarily expect it to suddenly get better or get worse at any point tonight, but we'll have to see how things go. Any final words from you for now, Ivan? I'm sure we'll have a chance to chat to you towards the end of things once we have a champion at the end to crown.
Yes. I look forward to being back in the commentary box in approximately 2 hours' time to celebrate with you guys the winner of what is looking like, be a very competitive night of racing. And Slipstream will play a major role down Conrod, so it's going to be really, really fascinating. But no, I'm super excited to be here. A huge thank you to everybody that supports our team and for SimSpeed to bring such a professional network and such a professional broadcast.
There we are. Thank you very much, Ivan, for that. And yeah, good luck with the rest of the evening. Hopefully all goes well from your perspective on the admin side.
Thank you very much.
Ivan Vantagiato there joining us for a chat here in practice as we get towards the final, or under the final 5 minutes now before qualifying will get underway. And yeah, each to hear a little bit about, a bit more about the backstory behind where the Formula RX8 series has come from. I think it is good to see another chance for drivers who are competitive here on iRacing. I say sim racing in general because whilst iRacing tonight here, this is the platform that we're on specifically. And given iRacing's relative popularity, I would say in the Australia New Zealand region compared to other sims, I think it's probably the appropriate choice. And also the fact we've got a car like the Mazda MX-5 officially licensed and all, and also Bathurst in the same vein, Jay. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that we can have a driver at the end of the night that we'll get to say is the winner, and be able to go from there and see what they can do in the real world. It definitely was actually, yeah, a great advertisement for the fact that whilst there are certainly things you have to learn once you get to car, I mean, I wish I knew what I was talking about. I mean, I've only got the experience on the simulator side. Pardon me, just a bit of a chat in the sim, which getting a bit changed. Actually, you have a mute button bound, I think, to keep tabs on that. But getting back to the point, I guess. Yeah, whilst unfortunately I can't speak to the success and ability to transition from sim racing to real world. Certainly, yeah, plenty of drivers have been able to do so, and certainly don't think that's going to start slowing down anytime soon here, that's for sure. Without a doubt, of course, yeah, building up skills in foundational motorsports such as go-karting will definitely still be relevant. Yeah, don't get us wrong. We're not going to be able to replace building up that kind of experience early on, but the ability to potentially be an alternate pathway into things might make for an exciting future ahead of us. And yeah, as you said there, the Super 2, Super 3 field currently. In fact, I think I saw in a Discord somewhere someone had actually written out, I should say, pardon me, the three sim racing teams that they all represented, and that's the podium of the Super 2 grid field today at Bathurst for the opening round of the Supercars Championship. And yeah, three relatively successful sim racing teams now having drivers representing them at the front end of the development series here, and certainly they all look like they're on their way towards hopefully lining up full-time seats should they become open in the not-too-distant future in the main game. Jay, I'm just going to stop you there. Apparently, you're not coming through on the stream.
Correct, I'm not coming through. I'll fix that. I just realised I pressed the mute button before while I was having a little cough and forgot to turn it back on.
Oh, good one. Well, I was going to just say you're so used to being a producer these days that maybe that's what it is.
You talk on the mic much these days, which is great for everyone's ears. But yeah, that's better. It does make people can hear me.
Yeah, thanks to Cal there in the YouTube chat for pointing that one out. Sorry that we didn't quite catch that then, and well, yeah, get that one fixed up here now, at least in practice before qualifying gets underway and the races as well. Also, hopefully, it doesn't make it sound like I'm talking to a mirror, which might be a little bit awkward, given that these days you have me producing a good chunk as well, so that's always interesting. So, time hits 0 in practice, and we get ready to transition into the qualifying session here for this evening's action tonight. It is an open qualifying session, if I understood things correctly. And here we go. Yep, the whole field now begins to flood out of the pit lane. So 15 minutes to go put a time on the board. And, well, they're going to have to spend the first 2.5 minutes on this outlap, of course. So should only expect they should only just get time for 4 laps. So this is going to be interesting because it means that every lap is going to count a lot more than it usually would. That was 3 out of our 4. I think there's a Damon Woods a little bit further down the pit lane. So Dylan Burse, 21 and Cody Deeth, and then that'll be Kobe Williams there. So 3 drivers all going to be working together, I'm sure. And yeah, you can see already lining up on the right-hand side of the road up into the cutting. Mostly sticking together. This is what you to see here. Obviously, they can't afford to back off a lot. They've got about 2 minutes to work with if we're continue with the assumption they're only going to get 2 laps in tonight. Here, that's not 2, 4. Let's remember the maths correctly at least. So 4 laps to go, and there you go. Control of the track, control of the rhythm and the tempo here is going to be interesting, but it also means that look at them all packed up here across Reed and then Sulman Parks.
The part of that is nobody wants to be the lead car. You don't want to be that first car. You want to be receiving all of the draft and all of the tow. You don't want to be giving it to anyone. So it's why we're seeing teammates try and work things out and try and drop back. And Jeff Connell in the all-black number 4. Very, very quickly on the brakes to make sure he didn't get to the front of the queue either. But it looks like it's going to, for the moment, be Dylan Burse. See what happens when they come up to the final corner at Murray's. I think we're going to see a big checkup of drivers. But the train at the moment, and these guys goes all the way back. They're just coming through the back of the dipper now. So back to Forest Elbow now. Sorry. So there's what 30-odd cars within 150 metres on this track. Means that they're all bunched up very, very tightly. Don't forget, any contact with another car invalidates lap time. So want to give yourselves enough room that you've got space in case something happens, but you want to be close enough that you're still going to get the draft of the car ahead.
This is going to be the big game here. The Eclipse cars pushing each other on the out there, which is, I believe, Burse and Cody Deeth to kick things off, but they're going to have to swing. There you go. Holding towards the pit entry side. In fact, interesting move here for one of the Slipstream cars. They're going to abort this qualifying run.
Sequence from everyone else.
Yeah. I'll be curious to see why, though, given the limited number of laps. But, they've got a plan in mind, and it's drawn in about 4 other cars as the whole bunch will continue on out there. And, I mean, let's see. Clock coming down past 12 minutes. So, yeah, they are still only going to get 4 laps now.
Running 3 flying laps in.
They should get 4 flies at 2.5 minutes apiece. 4 flies is 10 minutes. And then give or take some change for the seconds either side of that. So we had about 2 extra minutes here. It just means that this first lap is, well, effectively useless. It might even be completely null and void due to the way iRacing treats the pit lane entry at the very least here at Bathurst. And saying that because it's the pit lane entry, it might give them an okay, given that the timing line is right there at the start of pit lane. But we'll focus on the cars that went out and committed, such as Jeff Connell, who's now therefore left as the leader of the train, the number 4 machine, and once again Jeff's signature privateer black aboard this car. And you watch here the car really struggling, of course, for engine RPMs as we continue to climb the hill, and then as it levels off here at Sulman Park down to the Grape, now it's able to pick up a bit more in 3rd gear. We'll see, gets 4th as he comes past the Grape, and there might be a tiny, actually go up to Jeff if I can actually pick him up for us here and listen into his car as well. There we go, actually listening to Jeff's car. Plenty of commitment over the top of Skyline down towards the S's here now, and also critically though, same lines as many other cars, holding it to the curbs there and keeping it up against the walls to maximise the track width here down the mountain.
Usually races more regularly in GT3 cars, so he's struggling a little bit with the power, but one thing he does do is racing packs quite regularly. You see him in our Ozpass Championship, which is hopefully going to be returning soon. Yeah, very, very familiar to those who watch that series. One thing to note there is flat out full throttle, 100% throttle the whole way from the exit of the cutting all the way to downhill at Skyline. He started going downhill before he got his foot on the brake. It's a huge amount of the lap. On the brakes at 211 kilometers an hour. Very, very quick for these cars. Pulls it up very nicely. This looks like a pretty good lap.
Looking good indeed. The only problem is he's about 10k an hour down on what I saw on that out lap for the cars that were in Slipstream. So not having anyone to get the tow off of means he will be vulnerable in lap time. But clean air means he can put down a 2:32.0 as the first lap of the session. And we'll see how well that sticks up. Unfortunately, not very long. Max Christensen, who, if I have a look on the map, was right behind him, goes half a second faster. So that's the draft right there. So there you go. All four, if I know that all tracks tonight, the Eclipse Sim Sport cars, that's how they've decided to group up here. So they will now stick together and begin their first proper assault of things. And yeah, all those cars have dived into the pits, it looks like. Indeed, their lap times were invalidated there as another car going to slide on in. Braden Taylor, sorry, there. The number 74 goes to second. And a Jeff Cole. And for Leslie Reeves there, I think that was, unfortunately, that's going to be a world of hurt, being completely isolated by yourself towards the back of the train. Similarly here for Amber Griffin. Actually had a trouble for Griffin here, Jay, on their outlap down the S's, and had to reset back to the pits. Does mean that they get a chance to put a lap in, but now off sequence behind the pack, so much so that almost a full lap behind. Oh, and that's going to be an off track potentially there down the SS2.
Yeah, I think that is an off track penalty, so won't count this lap, but we'll have to try and get some sort of banker in. Interesting that out of the, 30-something odd cars we've got here in qualifying, we've ended up with, we've got 28 cars have ended up racing tonight, but only 11 got a lap in on that first run, which is very, very surprising. Would have thought there would have been more that completed a lap there, but it opens and has got out of the throttle there, so no lap time looking like it'll be completed here. Cody Death looks like he is on a very, very good lap though at the moment.
Well, what's also interestingly pointed out, and I actually just see this now in the session, we've actually had the iRacing session split
into groups.
The field into two open groups here. So we actually have ourselves 8 of our competitors off on there in a set, basically their own virtual part of the track, which means that they don't have this kind of crazy, so see 20 cars that have got one group, and yeah, the rest, the other 8 cars that are in at the moment, they're in the other group. It does mean actually at this stage that we've only got 28 drivers. We are a little shy of the 40 we were expecting, unfortunately, but nevertheless, let's worry about that another time. We're inside of the time left for 3 laps, so it's this 1 and 2 more for all these drivers here as we continue to watch the Eclipse Sim Sports quartet. It would be quintet, but Hayden Veld, who's actually out there in Eclipse colours at least for tonight, and in fact there he is in the split screen view, is in the other group. So meanwhile, the quartet come around the final corner to put their first competitive times on the board, and we'll wait to see what they are, and they shoot to the top inside the 2:30 bracket for the 94 of Kobe Williams, sitting up nicely underneath the gearbox of Damon Woods, putting Slipstream to great effect as a result.
Yeah, great lap there from Williams, Wood and Burse all going through at the same time, and McMillan as well. All pretty quick, and I didn't know if we'd get into the 29s, but we're definitely there already, so that's a very, very good lap. Interesting that Cody Death, the only driver out of that group that didn't get a lap time registered.
So pushing a little too hard there, it would seem, for the 21 of Death. Question is now, it shows the draft is valuable. Are the Eclipse drivers going to change things around? As going to switch over quickly to Group 2 here, and that's the other Eclipse painted car tonight once it eventually loads in. Apologies. Looks like the paint programs don't particularly enjoy switching groups on us like that, but Hayden Veld here on his own in here. If I actually switch over here, he's very much isolated. The rest of the drivers in this second smaller group are pretty much between Griffin's Bend and McPhillamy Park, with the exception of one car up ahead. Now, so once again there, about 210, 211, yep, on the brakes at 211 there. If we can go back to Group 1 potentially, I'll see if I can find someone in Group 1 for you and call it out when they get down towards the chase. And just bring up the speedo to compare someone who's in the draft versus a driver like Hayden who was out of the draft. Dean just smacked the wall in Group 1 down through the dipper, so that's another invalidated lap for him.
Struggling big time to get a lap registered, isn't he? He's a little too committed there as Hayden Veld crosses the line and goes 7th. It's a pretty decent lap time.
Yeah, I mean, certainly was.
What happened to Cody Death?
Yeah. Just driving a bit hard, but yeah, 2 seconds off might sound like a world of pain, but that's just, yeah, the advantage of draft versus no draft. Group 1 is coming up towards the chase now. I'll see if I can pick up speedo of someone, but here's what Cody Death did, and yeah, just smacks the outside wall on the way out and then grabs the other wall for good measure. unfortunately, at the very least, invalidating his lap, potentially even doing some car damage too. Now, top speed for Kobe Williams in the draft for Damon Woods, 217 kilometers per hour. So plus 10 is the difference. As spinner off the exit of the front, that's Alex Newton and number 13. So thankfully off the racing line means everyone carries on through as they've got 4 minutes left. So this is it, the final lap for all these drivers here in this main group. They're not going to get around to start on the second lap after this due to the hard cut at the end of the session. So these drivers need to make sure, if they're looking for improvement, they don't mess this one up.
Yeah, 100% they do. And Jeff Connell at the front of the group now also has got Leslie Reeves, who's come back out of the pits to have one last attempt. But I don't think he's going to get a lap in. Probably not enough time left in the session. So Connell now doesn't have any draft either. Did improve on his last lap though, goes to P7. See Luke Hogan from the Group 2 qualifying. He has just jumped up into P16. A few drivers making some moves throughout the field.
I mean, yeah, it's this whole game, yeah, of can you find someone to work with? Because, yeah, the top end of town, you're going to need some help by the looks of things. Come on, Jeff Collin here, persevering out the front of this group to just see if he can eke out a couple more tenths. You would think he is on board with the number 4 will go, and you hear it again, yep. Completely, tiniest lift of confidence there as the front end gets light into McPhillamy Park. That's about it, as you said. Otherwise pinned, and then, yeah, already over skyline before the anchors are on. And then try and hold the wall here at the bottom of the S's. Flick back for the dipper. Looking pretty decent and combat the understeer this car as it rides out through the bump and the dip, as it were. And then into Forrest elbow. Try and hook it in for the apex. Back to first gear, so maximum acceleration desired out of the MX-5 here from Connell. And then aim to go for top speed. We'll see, once again, should be around there. 200, already 180, so this really shows you how much this crest here on Colruyt hurts a car like this.
Losing speed as it goes up over that crest too, so dropped about 2 kilometers an hour. 200 as we get to the kink chase. We'll get to maybe 212, no, 211 on the brakes. Seeing some very, very good sector times from Kobe Williams, so from Shane Chancellor, Josh Perween. They'll look like they will improve on their laps that are about to be completed as well.
Yep, all right then. Time to see who will put themselves up the order for this grid. 231 not Jeff Connell, unfortunately. That's him done. No improvement for the number 4, so no better than 7th in this one. But mind you, that will be up the order for that group 2 as Josh Kerwin jumps up in the draft to P4. Cody Deeth goes P9 and gets a time on the board finally for him there as well. Because everyone here in Group 1 will get a chance to finish the lap, at least those that are coming into the chase now, such as Taylor Mitchell, who will be the last car in Group 1 to get a time on the board. Damon Woods, I don't think he improved on that one either. In fact, they backed off, I believe, the Eclipse cars. So they're all cycling around. Let's see here what Mitchell can do. 2:01, that's quite quick. So that, I think, unfortunately, is an aborted run. And indeed, well, something not quite right with that time, but nevertheless, it's into the lane for that number 37. So that will end his attempt at a qualifying time. So which means that apart from checking in with Group 2, which I'll do just now for us, and see here that with a minute to go, I don't think anyone's going to make it except maybe the number 22 in Group 2 of Luke Scott, who's looking to improve on his time, which is currently good enough for 23rd in this group, over 2 minute 35.0. Coming into the chase, 45 seconds. He should make it, but it might be close here, Joe.
Should be okay to get this lap in. Not 100% sure on the sector time, just the way that the data comes through from iRacing, but looking like he's committed to the end of the lap, which is usually a pretty good sign at this point that lap is decent enough. Currently looking to beat a 2:35.0, and the lap time is
2:35.0.
He just equaled his best lap time. Oh, sorry, I take that back. He found 100th of a second, thereabouts.
Yeah, found 600ths.
600ths.
It went from a 2:35.06 to a 2:35.005 to round things out. And with that all said and done, the checkered flag will fly and the session will cut us straight to the grid for heat number 1. 2 heats to come up here in a second. So we will take our odd place drivers, I should say, here from qualifying to make our grid for heat number 1, which will cut our grid down from 28 to 14 So Kobe Williams and Dylan Burst going to be half of your Clip Sim Sports drivers there tonight. They're going to share the front row to get this first heat underway. Thomas McMillan and Max Christensen will share row number 2 to kick things off. Cody Deeth, the next of our Clips cars there in P5, sharing row 3 with Braden Taylor in the 74. With Jackson Barry and Oscar Ames in 7th and 8th for this one tonight. Taylor Mitchell and Luke Hogan to round out your top 10. Final 4 cars of Alex Gouveia, Luke Scott on row number 6, James Zeitz in P13, and Harry Inwood with no time set rounding out the back of this Heat 1 field. 15 minutes going to be on the board. They are limited to 6 laps in the session, but as we saw, we're only going to probably get 5 laps here, I think. In saying that, of course, we only saw 4 valid laps from all the drivers, plus the out laps. In fact, actually,
I think they'll get 6.
I'll take that back. 6 is probably correct, yeah. So 6 laps to have a chance at making this stick here. Top 10 advancing directly to the feature. The rev's already risen, so I believe we're about to get the green flag instructions from Barney up at the stand, and we are underway for our first race of the Formula RX8 Esports Challenge. And, well, slow starts for these MX-5s, the sequential gearboxes, Jay, but it's going to be Williams from Burst leading into turn 1, single file at the front.
Yep, go back into single file very, very quickly. Oh, Brendan Taylor having a big, sorry, that was Cody Deeth having a big moment. Braden Taylor around, Jackson Barry involved as well, Luke Scott also slow. So that's huge. And Kobe Williams as well is dropping down the field. So guys that probably thought they were well and truly in with a chance of winning this, already out very, very early on.
Oh, about 5 cars all went around, and I've just seen Deeth's solo spin on the broadcast delay, and well, that's made for a bit of a moment there. So there you go. How about that? Burst to the front ahead of Christensen and McMillan, your top 3, with drivers. Well, in fact, the top 10 now is pretty much decided unless they have inter. So Williams on the replay here goes wide in the grass, cold tires, and spins. Separately in the background, we have about 3 or 4 other cars spin and get tripped up as well. So cold tires look like they're going to be everyone's enemy here tonight, Jay. So I hope the drivers of Heat 2 were watching there with some interest. I was just seeing Taylor Mitchell make a spot on Luke Hogan, and that would be in the back here. Going side by side across the top of the mountain. Of course, smaller cars, these MX-5s, than what you may be used to seeing or have otherwise seen. But that's certainly no mean feat as they make their way to Skyline for the first time.
Yeah, that's a decent effort to make moves across the top of the mountains. That's a huge moment. Mitchell always make contact with Hogan, contact with Deeth, and that is messy.
Oh, it's going to get a third car involved. The 74 is going to arrive on the scene. Braden Taylor. And,
Yep.
Unfortunately, this is, almost a comedic tragedy at this point how that played out. But hopefully they'll get going again. As McMillan and Christensen are going at it down Conrod Straight here, with McMillan taking the lead into the chase for the first time. So, well, bloodbath at the dipper complete. That now really does thin out the field. So, 20 seconds within the first lap now, covering our drivers that will make it through, and there's a bit of scrapping going. There's a couple of cars that now got entangled on lap 1, turn 1 I should say, that maybe don't have damage. They might just be back in with a chance of getting the direct path through. Now, in saying that, there is the last chance qualifier, which will be another 10-minute race. It's been configured as, and 4 drivers there goes. This is what happened to Taylor Mitchell on the replay. Just too fast for cold tires, and then T-bones Luke Hogan in the 747, and then
Nobody's
tripped
holding the brakes
over.
either. The golden rule when you have an incident, hold the brakes, and not a single person did that. And then there's a little bit, I don't know if that's a little bit of deviation or just I don't know what that was. That was messy, is what it was.
Yeah, we can just chalk that one up to desperation to get back going, and just everyone's trying to go at the same time. So that's how that ended up being. Is saying fustercluck an appropriate word this time?
I mean, that was messy. It was horrible. It wasn't great. Let's get that out of the way now, and then by the end of the night will be great. I think everyone's learnt a lot from that, and the guys in race 2, I'm sure, would have learnt absolutely bucket loads from that. Dylan Bursey's broken away from everyone else in this battle for 5th, which has now got Cody Deeth leading it with that damage. He's doing a good job.
Yep, cars that you would have thought were no chance of making it through now suddenly do have a chance of making it through here as we're on board with Harry Inwood in the number 143. Looking at the back of Kobe Williams' dented bumper with also the most offensively bright green rims, but it wouldn't be Kobe if it wasn't green on those rims
Green
here.
94, it has to be, doesn't it?
Yes. But also, other crazy things here, you look at Deeth's cars, we saw it from the front-on shot exiting the cutting. There's basically no front end left on that thing, and he's ended up in P5, and looks to be like in a position where he'll have some capacity to keep going, as Williams actually got to the very close to the back bumper, and it's caused Deeth to drive in a bit hard at Forest Elbow. So they're going to lock horns now, which is, well, in a race situation, kind of what they're going to want, as long as they don't unsettle the 21 here in a straight line down Conrod.
Very easy to do. It's too aggressive up under the rear of the car. See what the top speed is with that bump draft, even with the damage, still doing about the same as what we saw from a lot of the drivers in qualifying, but definitely down on pace there is Cody Deeth, because Kobe Williams was very, very likely to go past. If he made a move forward, he would have got through very easily.
Yeah, down about 10k an hour on the normal speed of an MX-5, undamaged. So I think he was really going to need that help to keep on going. It does bring Inwood right back to the bumper of Williams as well. So it's 3 cars fighting over 5th. You then got Braden Taylor there in the 74 with Luke Scott behind him in 9th, the 22. So they're looking reasonably safe for now. And in fact, P10 is also now quite safe in the hands of James Zeitz, number 17. The yellow and blue machine there in the background is shot. Short of having another accident or getting involved in another one, because I think for Zeitz, he was just one of the drivers that arrived at the scene of the Dipper, and, well, it did not go well for him, but he looks to have gotten away without too much damage there, Jay, as well, when you think of it. As Deeth has been overtaken by Williams, it looks like there's not too much team play going on there for these guys in the middle of the pack. Inwood now looking for his chance around the 21.
Harry Inwood definitely wants to get on by, because Deeth is holding them up, especially in the drafting spots. I'd be surprised if Inwood can get through once they get up to the chase on this lap, but making sure he's close enough at that point is going to be difficult, because you know that Cody Deeth is a very, very good driver, very, very talented, so we'll be making sure that it's hard work. Remembering that where these guys finish in this race will actually be where they will be grid up on the inside row of the final. So first we'll line up on pole, second we'll line up second position on the inside on row 2, likewise through the field. So effectively you gain 1 spot in the race, you start 2 places ahead.
It is very valuable indeed, and how about that there? I was going to say, if Inwood can stick with Deeth, this should be hook, line and sinker down Conrod straight, but through the Dipper, Deeth just absolutely launching the 21 down the second half of the hill there, and maybe latching onto a tiny hint of the slipstream from Williams. I can actually say no, that's not the case. Williams is now checking out in the clean air and without damage, and there we go. Inwood will get his hook, line and sinker there, as unfortunately that Eclipse car is just going to be the walking wounded. So there you go, tiny bit of overspeed for Inwood relative to what we saw on qualifying there at 2:14 as he hits the anchors for the chase. Does push a tiny bit wide on the exit there, but all's fair for a bit of grass there, it seems, when you're pushing these MX-5s around at pace anyways. See if you can maybe catch Williams with a good lap, although that obviously is dependent on how Williams' car is behaving. Taylor and Scott gotten closer together since we last checked in on them, Jay. They go 1/10 of a second the number as they come into Murray's. See if that number 22 machine, one of the Slipstream Autosport cars I see here in the field tonight, representing the team that helped put on the event here tonight. We'll see here, looks for the inside straight line dive from Scott, but space given by Taylor means they're both going to have an average run, and in fact Taylor just carries the speed around the outside to hang on to the spot for now at least.
And James Zeitz actually is closing in on these guys too with the battling that they're doing. So last lap by, Zeitz was a second quicker than Brandon Taylor in the 74 car. No surprise with the damage on his car that he is down a little bit on straight line speed. Brandon Taylor just clear and chops the nose off to get the position finally in the end. But tell you what, that overtake has taken half a lap.
And okay, so let's see it here. Starting at the chase. So I saw this from pardon me, Luke. At the start of the race, he was immediately on the aggressive at turn 1. So yeah, but big dive up the inside of the chase. Hurts his run out of the turn as a result. So that's why they were so close coming under the Armorall bridge, pardon me there. So that explains a bit. So looks like, yeah, as you said, if Luke keeps that up, he will keep pushing these two back towards James Zeitz. As he said on that last lap, well, Luke Scott was only half a second down on Zeitz in the 17 behind, but Braden Taylor, who was in front of him, was a full second behind, as that was half a look over the top of the sky, and that is brave. Some might even say foolish, but thankfully nothing coming of it. What it does do is completely ruin the run through the dipper for Luke Scott. Oh, side by side, I think James Zeitz is going to be absolutely licking his lips here as through the elbow they come. He'll need a bit more fighting from those two, which is a bit interesting because yes, it's a position in the final in terms of their starting spot, but they don't need to fight. And if they fight, they risk knocking themselves out and having to go the long way around here tonight.
If you fight too much, you could end up in the wall and ending up going through the LCQ, which I don't think anyone wants to do. Never the best way to go about it, going through a last chance qualifier, as McMillan just posted the fastest lap of the race. He's closed in to Dylan Burst quite a lot. Braden Taylor not quite able to get the move done. Go to the front of the field. It is getting rather tight.
Yeah, McMillan able to just stay close enough, it seems, with Burst to now get full advantage of the toe, and they'll lock bumper to bonnet there up towards Griffin's Bend. As we'll go split view there, live with the leaders on your bottom half of the screen, live with the fight for 8th on the top half of the screen, which could easily become a 3-way fight for 8th if Scott and Taylor keep it up there. As Burst continuing to lead as they now enter the cutting, and it's very much going to be a case of which one of these two is going to start on the pole position for the final, it seems, because they're going to keep pushing each other along if McMillan's push up Mountain Straight is anything to go by for the time being. Taylor close there, Jay, in towards Griffins, but once again, not able to commit like Luke Scott was, or maybe just biding his time, one of the two at least, at this stage, although we are inside of 3.5 minutes to go.
Not long left in this race at all. Getting very, very
close
to the end. Right as we go away from it, the move gets done, and James Zeitz is now within 3 seconds as well. So while they're fighting, it is closing up. Kobe Williams and Harry Inwood has also closed in as well for 5th position. So 3 battles for position that have closed up very, very quickly over the last few minutes. Plenty to look for on this final lap. Versus McMillan, that battle, I don't think it'll be too heated between these guys. It'll be hard, but I don't think they'll fight too hard.
I think both of them will be looking for a chance at the final prize. So whilst there's a big head of steam for McMillan, he's going to put that straight into the bumper of the 68 and push them both along at maximum speed. So that brings Burst up only about 2-3 kilometers an hour of what we saw in quali, but that's I should say clean air, not so much quali. Quali we definitely saw even faster times from proper draft runs that saw them really suck up towards the back of the cars ahead, as inside 2.5 minutes, and well, it is lap 5 of 6 as well. So regardless of which way you put it, this is going to be the final lap of heat number 1, and in this game here, does McMillan go for the run start P1 in the feature? Is he content to sit back and let himself start in 3rd?
I think it matters too much, in my opinion. I mean, we saw Kobe Williams start from pole and didn't make it out of turn 1, so I don't think it matters too much where you start, or about nailing what you do start of the main race. Making sure you stay in the lead group is probably more important than actually getting on pole for this race. It's not the worst place to start in these sort of races as well, because you probably don't want to be the leader on the last lap if you've got a big group of cars.
No, you probably don't want to. That is indeed what I would expect as well. And Kevin Williams is potentially eyeing off a chance at P4 even, despite the fact he's under pressure from Harry Inwood behind. They've pulled 1.3 seconds on Oscar Ames ahead, and currently gap is 1.2. So if Ames has a bit of a rough run, in fact, he does have a bit of an average run out of the cutting there, losing a 10th to Williams behind. That might just give the 94 the sniff of slipstream it needs down Conroy Straight to protect his own position, and also maybe have that crack as we go back to our leading two down the S's for the final time in their opening heat race. And you can see they're pushing the limits away from the wall at the bottom as they go for the dippers. Oh, inward around the outside of Williams and McPhillamy is going to see them switch spots there.
Yeah, that's an interesting position.
Connection issues for Kobe Williams. He battled out of it and pulled to the inside as his car began to flicker. So went for preservation over a bit of personal glory, it seems. So he'll drop a spot for now and look to persevere later on. As here we go, McMillan gets the slipstream and gets alongside, and no major defense from Burst here. Will obviously defend under the brakes, I would expect, here as they go side by side to the apex of the chase here. But McMillan ahead, yeah, not too much of a fight put up by Burst. No shockers there, Jay. I think, as you said, he might be perfectly happy starting third for the feature. McMillan will follow, there you go, the white line all the way down to the inside. That might even get Burst a chance to be right up on the outside. He'll try and cross over as well, but it will be McMillan from Burst nose to tail across the line to end heat number 1.
Driving from those guys as well to keep it clean. Max Christensen, very boring drive, I guess, for him. He's just driven it around for 6 laps and will take a nice, easy P3. We're going to go back to this battle because have a look at this. They're side by side again. And James Zeitz is well and truly within the same shot now. Still side by side here. This is the battle for 8th. Don't take each other out.
Panel rubbing under the Armour All Bridge there. I don't think it's going to be enough unless it comes to absolute blows here. And it does come to a blow there. Centre punch from the front of Luke Scott's car to Braden Taylor, but they'll both get across the line. And Zeitz behind is close, but not quite. Will be our 10 cars that will progress directly through to the feature. Our remaining drivers are trying to limp their way home, unfortunately, with the damage means they've fallen a long way off the back of the pack. But that is going to be your 10 drivers, the first 10 drivers, I should say, that make their way directly through to the feature. And as you said, we'll be lining up on the left-hand side of the grid next to that pit wall. McMillan, then Burst, of course, coming nose to tail across the line. Max Christensen there, third in heat 1, ahead of Oscar Ames in 4th. And as I said, Harry Inwood getting past Kobe Williams in the last lap between 5th and 6th. Cody Deeth, unfortunately, had dropped thanks to that damage there. We'll have to settle for 7th in this one, with Braden Taylor eking out ahead of Luke Scott there in 9th. James Zeitz coming round to finish in 10th. In our last couple of cars to cross the line, going to be Luke Hogan in the 747, and then Jackson Barry and Taylor Mitchell to be our 13 finishing drivers. Unfortunately for Alex Gouveia, he was in that fight with in the fight for Williams. Yeah, he was, and unfortunately dropped out as they climbed up out of the cutting. So that will, if he can make it back, that is, mean it'll be a long way around for him here. But time to go to Heat 2, which will see our drivers there, 2nd, 4th, 6th, and so on from qualifying. So it's Damon Woods and Josh Perwin on the front row for this one to get things kicked off. Tom Katsadonis and Jeff Connell will start out of row number 2. Then one of our drivers from qualifying group 2, who's pardon me for bringing it up, but Hayden Velp is starting alongside Shane Chancellor here on row number 3, with Brock Thompson in behind out of 7th, sharing row 4 with Alexander Newton in there in the number 13 machine. Our top 10 rounded out by Leslie Reeves and Damien Brasher, Amber Griffin, Chandra Tamung, Eddie Bullock, and Brock Lindorf to round out our 14 drivers in this second heat here, which will see us do pretty much exactly the same thing in terms of format. Of course, we're certainly hoping that things go a little smoother than what we saw in the start of heat number 1. As I get the green flag orders from Barney here and run the way for heat number 2. And Woods will work his way to the outside, although hard charging start there from this third of our slipstream cars in this one. Brock Thompson up the inside of Shane Chancellor will steal away what was P6. Good news is they've all made it through turn 1 without having any big dramas there like we saw at the start of heat 1.
Yeah, the downfall is it looks like we're missing a couple of drivers that should have been on the grid that are having some tech issues and haven't made it out on the track. But hey, we've made it through turn 1, which means that this group at the front is going to be nice and close for most of the race. Perwin and Woods have got a little bit of a gap, but Castadonis, Connell, Vald They all want to make sure that they make it all the way through. As we've got a car around, that's Shane Chancellor just backed into Amber Griffin. So hopefully Amber can continue on, but the rest of the field made it through okay.
Yeah, Cold Ties claims another one, and then the car just not coming to a stop through the exit of Griffin's, claiming another unfortunate victim in the process as well. So another brutal one there, which thankfully self-contained for the most part for now, as it's woods from Derwin from Cathadonis across the top of the mountain here as they look to build pace in these MX-5s. And then Thomas, Connell and Veld, sorry, not too far behind. So breakaway 5 is Connell, finds the dirt, and McPhilmy in the number 4 machine. Gathers it back up though, and that will stay close enough to the bumper of Cathadonis as the dipper for the first time here.
How close they are. It's a top 6 breakaway as well, because Thompson has hung onto the back Hayden Veld, and they've broken a very big margin as Leslie Reeves has a big moment coming through the dipper.
The elbow.
Oh, Connell.
Oh, he's going to... okay, gets actually off the line. Actually turns out to be the right place to be. There's a...
Did a good job there, actually. I was thinking the same as you, but he did a great job.
As you said, generally the golden rule that's instructed is hold your brakes, but as it turns out, when he bounced off the wall like that, had just enough time to basically clear what would be the normal racing line, of course, at the exit of the elbow, and allow everyone to go through mostly unaffected. But unfortunately, that thins out the herd at the front. Will be an Eclipse versus Slipstream battle, it seems, for the honours here in heat number 2. And yeah, the 3-2 numerical advantage. We'll see if Slipstream drivers can make use of that here, as Perwin and Cathadonis there in the middle of, I guess, an Eclipse sandwich as well, with some extra filler there on the outside in the form of Brock Thompson, as lap 2 gets underway here.
In the field as well, Newton and Reeves have continued on, and Jeff Connell now back in 9th position. He'll be devastated that he's had a bad run, but he'll be at least comforted in the fact that this will see him in the auto progression position. Brock Thompson has a little bit of a tech drama. He gets back without causing any issues. But this pack here at the front, I think it's going to sit like this for 3 laps, 4 laps. Lap 5, it's going to get a bit messy. Lap 6, it's going to be absolute chaos. I don't think... I have a feeling that one of these 5 is not going to make the feature automatically.
Well, that is definitely a bit bold of a presumption to make, because also, I mean, yeah, if I have a big wipeout, they only have 20 seconds to spare at the moment to P11. The number 7 of Chandra Tamang, who's just trying to stay on the back bumper of Shane Chancellor as well. But I mean, I'll be curious to see it. They all know that, yes, this, as you said, dictates their starting position on the outside row for the feature, but probably better to just get through rather than having to go the long way around, you would think. But we'll have to wait and see as they come down as to whether that's all the long game is on their minds tonight, or whether, as you said, someone's going to go for a bit of improvement and personal glory, and it's going to come off sideways. As on board with Alex Newton, looking back at Leslie Reeves, who I think might have had an issue of it down here at the dipper, which is what lost them a spot. Yeah, they were slow and offline, so I guess that is pretty self-explanatory exactly how it happened. Fortunately, haven't quite gone back to find that out. But
look at who's there in the background.
Indeed, Jeff Connell might have punched in the back of his number 4 MX-5, but looks like hasn't done too much to hurt the front of his car, as they'll take the toe off of Reeves, and they're actually going to double draft past Newton there. So 2 for 1. Unfortunately for Newton, that's him going backwards, not forwards.
Catch onto the back of the draft as they're going along, and could almost propel himself back forward, back into the chase. So I'm sure this right now is a little bit of testing as well for the feature race to work out what works, what doesn't. Jeff Connell gets 2 for 1 down Conrod Straight. So I've just seen Shane Chancellor. Remember, Chancellor was sitting in, what, P6, P7. He's just had to escape back to the pit, so he's had a massive moment himself. We'll get it up on screen in a moment, but he's had a moment where he's now back in the pits and may be out for the race.
And what's interesting is that, I mean, he was running unfortunately
in 10th, wasn't he? Because Amber Griffin was in 11th.
Well, Griffin was even in 12th.
12th,
so this is solo incident for the 87 after spinning on lap 1. Oh, is he going to...
Oh, too wide.
Too wide. And it's going to catch.
Oh, crabbing now.
And a solid, yeah, bit of crab down. Oh, yeah, look, they get right rear jammed up in the wheel arches. Okay, well, they didn't wait 2 laps straight. They waited 1.
Did it straight away.
So Katsadorans has gotten through, and Josh Purwin, I think, had a scruffy run through Murray's Bend, and now Hayden Veld tries to get up the outside. Naturally, the outside of the cutting, not a preferred passing opportunity there, so we'll get back in line, which really does give Brock Thompson a chance to latch on fully now. So they work their way up as a group once again, as we're going to check a replay out of...
It's Chandra Taming. Bang.
All right. Yeah, the number 7 machine. Unfortunately, they've been running back on their own. Oh, that's the inside wall of Skyline. And that's going to be the wall at the S's. And unfortunately,
I don't think cars like that.
Funnily enough, I do believe that's an accurate estimation of how much they
I don't often say things that are right, but I think I've got that one right.
Purwin's
Oh, that's wall. Purwin.
And Vel, here we go, going to fall out the inside of Katsadorans in the little run into the elbow there to try to take full advantage. He's Hayden Veld, and now he's pinched up the apex, and he's surrounded because Damon Wood says, thank you very much, lads. I'm checking out at the front to be uncontested on the front row. And now Hayden's trying to battle for the slipstream of Katsadorans, and of course he's giving it to Purwin here to make it the slipstream cars on the right-hand side of Conrad. As here we go, Purwin getting the overspeed from the slipstream, and as well, although can Veld box them in a little bit, he can, causing contact with Katsadorans and Purwin to square them all up as they go in 2x2 to the chase. And it will be the 19 of Purwin who gets back into second place at the end of Conrad Straight, and they only just make it out the other side without too many scrapes and dents.
Remember how David Woods looked like he checked out? That's already gone. They actually did a good job of closing that gap back down. So great work from Purwin, Katsadorans, Thompson. And Veld, as you said, he tried to box the guys in and did force a little bit of contact. One thing I'm surprised by is Purwin basically looks like he's got away with that contact with the wall without too much damage. He may have got away with that one. Katsadorans' car looks a lot more damaged than Josh Purwin's does, even though Purwin was the one that hit the wall.
I mean, yeah, I guess we just have to say sometimes the suspension gives you a good contact, as it were.
MX-5 sometimes taketh and sometimes taketh away.
Yes, well, sometimes they tanketh in that case.
Away, yes.
No, it certainly taketh away if you
taketh
get it
away
wrong,
or tanketh. Yes.
Tanketh, I guess, is probably the other one that works in this situation, as they tried to close up the hill into the cutting once more. It will be single file, as you said, get back onto the slipstream of Damon Woods. They've cut the gap down from 1.2 seconds to 0.8 of a second, thanks to just running line astern up Mountain Straight. So, yeah, as you said, as I said, Damon Woods checking out, as you then called it immediately. They've been able to reel him back in because he's got no help there whatsoever when he gets a breakaway, just because they get the elbows out behind. Oh, hello, windscreen wipers. You're not meant to be on at this point.
Hashtag soon.
Good to know they're Good to know they're working, even if it's not coming to the MX-5 in a week and a bit's time here on the iRacing services. How's that also for the engine braking, really getting down the shit gears early. Oh, Veld, he almost loses it, trying to throw it down through the dipper. So now the tyres in theory are warm. They're certainly still at the limits of grip here in these MX-5s. Purwin a little wide, going to check up Katsadorans on the exit of the elbow if he doesn't pull out early and go for the side draft. And of course he won't go for the side draft. So nose to tail for the two of the slipstream cars. Hayden Veld will happily take that invitation to catch right back up into the bite for second here.
This gap closed now. Draft and the pushing down Conrad Straight. They're around about 10 kilometers an hour faster at this point, maybe 12. But it's a noticeable difference. It's gone from a second down to pretty much half a second through the down intersection of the chase.
I mean, critically, Purwin having a bit of a moment there at the elbow actually did blow the gap out from 0.8 to a second across the top. But as you said, then yeah, just sitting in a line, pushing each other, immediately undoing all of the losses and then some as they go inside of 0.7. Katsadorans with the fastest lap for a second before Brock Thompson immediately reclaims it there in the number 61. Back of the group, he's getting maximum advantage, it seems, of the drafting opportunities here tonight. As for our other battle, nope, actually we'll check the other battle out later. There's Brock Thompson on board with him now as he looks at the back of Hayden Veld and this top 5 train working their way up the hill and just clearing out from drivers there like Damien Brasher in the background. And for Brasher, unfortunately, yeah, just 2 seconds off the pace of the leader and nearly 3 seconds off the pace of Thompson, who's getting all of the tow that he could ask for. As we're on lap 5, and we'll get lap 6 underway in next time round to see that white flag.
And these guys really have to hold on, because the guys that we saw on those replays that have had moments, they've been able to use the spare car and get back out on track. So have a moment now. It could cost you auto progression into the final. So really important that you do you nail everything now. You've got to absolutely nail these moments. You've got to be absolutely picture perfect. But same breath, you don't want to leave yourself open to a mistake or have a mistake. Just right on cue, there's a big mistake there from Hayden Veld. I thought he was going to run into the wall there.
Just almost taking in the alternate line. Not that I knew there was one that
didn't know there was
down
one.
the S's. And now down into the elbow. What can they make of it this time as they've properly caught up to Damon Woods. But Brock Thompson finds the wall and he's out of the pack.
And that's come from Hayden Veld drifting wide and hitting the wall first. Hayden Veld drifted wide, hit the wall. Brock Thompson followed his line and has absolutely smashed the wall.
Well, if ever there was a case of hook, line and sinker, yeah, light tap for Veld, gets away with it. The tap for Thompson, as we saw on board, actually picking up the right rear and spinning the car around. So unfortunately, that's him in the pits, and that will probably be done, although it does have a healthy gap back to the cars that have already towed. So maybe a tiny chance of still being this one. As here we go. So Veld gets away with it, as you said there, gets a scrape. But Brock Thompson, somehow he's hit that just slightly differently, and wall concrete says no. They'll now be forward, take the white flag, and all pushing the limits at the final corner means that it's going to be Perwin up the inside as they come past Barney there at the starter's line, and it will be the 19 that will finally take a lead into turn 1 for the first time in quite some time, if not this entire race. In the background, I think I've seen Damien Brash has had a small moment and allowing Jeff Connell to sneak up here, which might mean Connell, after going around on lap 1 into the backwards into the wall at Forest Elbow, might just have himself P5 in this race as Woods slipstream around the outside.
In the grass. Now, I don't want to alarm anyone as Perwin up the inside to get the move done on Woods. I'm not surprised by that. Remember my big statement I made early on, and you're like, that's a bold statement? One of these top 5 wouldn't make would have to go through the LCQ, wouldn't make it to the end. Fortunately, I was right.
Well, he's out of it for now. We'll have to see if it puts Brock a lap down and in need of needing a tow. Because the thing is that P10 is currently coming down Conrod. There, indeed, the number 7 of Chandra Tamang. There's a tiny possibility in all of this. Brock Thompson still doesn't need to take the LCQ route. He might be released in time.
It'll be very close.
Or at the very least, yes, might have an undamaged car to at least have a crack at it on the last lap. Your leaders, though, already down in the dipper, is on board with Damon Woods. We go now for the first time in this race, looking at another car's rear bumper here. But it does mean he'll get the chance for that slipstream, of course, down.
I don't think he'll mind it.
Chase.
I don't think he'll mind being the second car. There's a little bit of contact there for Perwin.
Brock Thompson has been released from the pit lane. And critically, he's on lap 6, so he does stay. He's been released just in time to stay P10. As here we go, Woods with the slipstream. He'll clear Perwin over the crest, and Veld's going to get the push through with his own tow, and bump Woods to confirm. He'll take second, and he'll get blocked, but then he gets the push from Perwin through the dirt. He'll come out the other side, but instead of being second, it's going to have to be fourth, it seems, in Heat 2. Woods now on the maximum defense from Perwin to the right, to the left, and back to the middle as Perwin tries around the outside here at the final turn. That puts him off the line. Woods will take the win here in Heat number 2, and it looks like Casadonis will sneak away with the second place in as well. Perwin third, confirmed from Veld. Now, last couple of cars in line actually is Damien Brasher back ahead of Jeff Connell. He's going to lunge for the outside, tries the crisscross, and he gets checked up. That will allow Brasher to hang on to P5 there ahead of Jeff Connell at the end of Heat number 2.
One question
And
I
next
do
to-
have is, did Haydenveld clear his slowdown penalty before he crossed the line? I'm
think
going to suspect that he
think he
did,
did.
but yeah, very, very close. Reeves crosses for 7th, Newton for 8th. Amber Griffin, who was dead last at the end of lap 1, is going to finish 9th.
Yeah, just got to obviously get to the end of the race here, but should be fairly unimpeded. And yeah, we said one of our top 5 wouldn't make it. Well, looks like you got half of it right, and then it turns out maybe I had a little bit of fortune telling left in me as well. But we'll worry about Brock Thompson in a second. As yet now, just one corner left for Griffin as they make their way up to Murray's here in heat number 2. Yep, get it pulled up, get it in, and tick the box. That is job done for the number 18. Straight through to the feature for Griffin and Brock Thompson. After being in that top 5 fight, after then having to get it back to the pits with the tow, is able to get back out just in time to clear the cars behind by a matter of about 8 or 9 seconds, and be the last car that will get through here directly to the feature. Unfortunately for Chandra Tamang and Shane Chancellor, they have got themselves the long way around. They'll have to do here to get themselves in. So there you have it. Top 4 were covered by mere tenths of a second. Haydenveld having, as you said, having to bleed off speed to make sure that he got no penalty from iRacing that would knock him potentially out of the 10. So he'll consolidate 4th place ahead of Brasher, able to fend off Jeff Connell there on the final lap. Leslie Reeves just a clear of Alex Newton for 7th and 8th respectively. And Amber Griffin and Brock Thompson to round out our top 10 for that one, with 11th and 12th place, as we said there, going to Chandra Tamang and Shane Chancellor. So now 8 drivers who did not get themselves a way through directly to the feature. Jay getting themselves the last chance qualifier. 4 of them will make it through to make it a 24-car grid. So it's Luke Hogan, who came 11th from Heat 1, with Chandra Tamang, so our pit drivers in P11 there on row number 1. Our P12 finishes Jackson Barry and Shane Chancellor on row 2. Taylor Mitchell and Eddie Bullock on row 3, with Alex Govea and Brock Lindorf will be on are scheduled for row 4, but they're not on the grid. It might even just be 5 cars that take to the start here, and they're already on the rev, so it will be a 5-car grid to start this one here, Jay. Only 4 of them make it through, so this is a do or die for one person missing out.
One driver misses out on making the feature race, so this is probably the most stressful sort of racing you can have. You've got 5 drivers in. Oh, no, Chandra. Hogan had a moment
Hogan
as well.
front. Oh, talk about a moment and then some. There's cold tyres. Burning a pair of them once again after what we saw in Heat 1 and a little bit in Heat 2 as well. As it'll be, was Jackson Barry, but Shane Chancellor prone to these 3 here just need to go get to the end of this one. They've only got 10 minutes on the clock, so this should be a 5-lap race, might even be a 4-lap race, depending on how quickly they get around the mountain here in this one. And yet, Tamang has already towed to the pit, so unless one of these drivers gives up, that's down to Tamang just yet. Slips, slides, and then for Hogan, this extended battle for control on the cold tyres just keeps it out of the fence.
I weren't sure on how much temperature there was in the tyres at the start of the race. Very easy answer. None. Absolutely
Yes,
no
no.
heat in the tyres at all. We haven't really looked at the weather conditions. It's not that hot either. I mean, 29 degrees, sure, it's warm, but it's not absolute stifling conditions that we do see as everyone decides to take to the grass. This council don't have to come and mow the lawn after this race.
Oh, Barry a little wide there at the bottom of the S. I thought for a second that might have been at risk of finding a fence, but stays out of it and carries on. And it's down to the elbow we go. For the first time in this LCQ, Mitchell almost in the wall next to it. Just gives it the faintest of brushes with his tyres. Carrying on his merry way down Conrod Straight here. So, unfortunately, not quite as many drivers as we were hoping, of course, Jay. We were hoping to have a full field of 20 drivers fighting it out for the consolation positions, so not through this last chance qualifier. Nevertheless, it seems that certainly not needing to make do per se with the numbers we've got, because we've had just a few fireworks to entertain us, regardless of the field size.
100%. I think that's probably a bit of an understatement. We've had more than fireworks throughout the night. Been incredible racing, been incredible battling, and now the drivers are basically fighting for their grid spots. This is going to decide positions 21 to 24 for the feature race coming up. Unfortunately, Chandra Tamang has decided that car's too damaged and won't return to the field, so these 4 now will make it through into the main event. Now means our 24 cars are sorted and decided for the feature race coming up in around about 15 minutes time.
Well, then they'll potentially fight this one out to see what positions they will start, because they finishing order here in the last chance qualifier will determine, of course, the starting positions 21st through 24th. At the same time, though, when you're that far back, I'd probably argue just getting it home more than anything else if you've got any doubts, any concerns about how the car is driving and how it's racing.
Glorified practice session now, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, Taylor Mitchell gets some practice again with more draft running. Shane Chancellor, perhaps here a chance for him to really scope out how it feels to be the leader if you've got no draft or a pack or anything like that. So also, maybe even hear from Mitchell, almost eyeing off the viability of a move up the inside across the top. We'll opt for the push into McPhillamy instead. Thankfully, not looking for side-by-side here at this stage, although, again, yeah, right on the back bumper, as they then throw it over the top through the Skyline and the S's once more, of course. I get curious to see here, how does someone like Chancellor respond now to having a driver on the back bumper, and how is he going to drive the car in to the corners? I mean, S's and Skyline not so much critical, but of course here to the elbow, how much do you drive in to try and break the gap on the entry and potentially compromise your run on corner exit as a result?
Start hearing from race control that a couple of incidents being reviewed post-event. I don't think they'll matter too much, but there has been drivers have been advised that brake checking will incur a 5-second post-race penalty. So the games, although while they're not really happening in this race, they are happening while the race is on. As up the inside goes Taylor Mitchell. That is a beautiful move. Classic move at the chase, but one that we haven't seen too much.
Yes, indeed.
Well, the moves have been before that point, really, haven't they?
They have indeed, yeah. Just getting the slipstream and just being able to power by into the chase. But I guess if you time it right, maybe park it up on the apex as well, which make the move stick. So a bit of that to consider, as well as 4 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock this lap. Actually, no, we will go 5 laps in this race, as Mitchell runs it a little wide on the exit, which will potentially hurt the run. Maybe not, though. Again, momentum's so critical in these cars, even with the updates to the grass. Almost half a year ago now, I think, here at iRacing. Although, of course, slipstream for Chancellor. He's actually going to straight back pass. So a test of perhaps how does the move feel into turn 2. As I said, basically no better time to do it. Mitchell challenging, and that's not where you can test a move. As whilst you can maybe make it stick, their Chancellor not all the way on the inside with the overdrive and sticking up the inside. So they will swap spots, and a healthy margin opens up between them for now.
Race controls open up a big can of worms, saying about the brake checking. I don't know if you can see the messaging going on, but everyone's wondering who's been doing the brake checking and the weaving. But they're just being proactive because they can sense that something like that is going to happen in the feature race, which I think is very, very clever, because I have a feeling you feel the same as me, that the feature race is going to be absolute chaos, bedlam, because there are a lot of drivers that are very, very quick in these cars, and a lot of drivers that really want their prize, and there's no second place.
Exactly. As I said, it is one and done for this one here. So you're going to have to be careful not to... got to be in it to win it. Conflicting with the fact that there can only be one. So yeah, when you go for your run, and when you go for the defense, if you're the person who happens to be a leader coming into that final lap, who's going to want to be the leader? Is anyone going to... Are they going to try and give up? Question here. Are they going to give up the lead trying to go into the final lap and just try and not be...
I would say yes.
literally going to be a game of hot potato P1 up until the last lap. In fact, up until probably the last corner even of that last lap.
I don't think you want to be the leader at Forest Elbow in the last lap. Unless you've got a 4-second advantage, you don't want to be the lead car.
I'd say I'd feel maybe remotely comfortable at 1.5, but that's a stretch, even.
If you've got a 3-car train pushing each other along behind you, I don't think that's enough.
But I guess there's also the fact that, the white flag has come out.
Wasn't sure if it was going to either.
Oh, yeah, because you're at 4 minutes 40 something on the last lap, and apparently my brain decided it can't do math and count backwards whilst it's counting down on screen. So I'll, as predicted, a 10-minute race with the opening lap being 2 minute 30 something, and the fact that there's only the 4 drivers that have been able to make it, and they're now all spread out. They are doing lap times in excess of 2 minute 30. So yes, they carry on. So Chancellor from Mitchell and Barry from Hogan. So thankfully they've all kept going. It's just spaced out for now, and I think that's probably going to be the way it goes, because Mitchell's lost a bit of time to Chancellor since trying to go for that move at turn 2 last time round, Jay. Gap out to 1.5 seconds as they begin their final climb up the hill.
Yeah, Jackson Barry actually closed in, about 7/10 of a second on that previous lap to Taylor Mitchell, but still a long way back, so I don't think the conditions have really changed too much from this point. Taylor Mitchell did lose a fair bit of time on that previous one, but Chancellor just got to drive it smooth to bring it home. One brake lockup could be enough to cost him a spot, but positive is that even if that does happen, won't have his night ended.
Indeed, it's down to the elbow for the last time here in this last chance qualifier, and Chancellor throws it in a little wide of the apex seam, but Taylor Mitchell definitely scrubbing a bit of exit speed as well. And Jackson Barry looks to have definitely backed off, it seems, because that was about half a second and then some more lost as they're all on Conrod Straight this time. So just 2 braking zones left for these drivers to navigate to wrap things up here in the LCQ and all make their way through to the feature. And then as you said, this game of how many dimensions of chess, I don't even know how many dimensions of chess we're going to see there. At least 4. Whether someone tries for 5D chess and whether we can actually explain the 5th dimension, I'm not going to be certain on that one there for us. As Chancellor from Mitchell across the line to be our first 2, and there you go, just another fastest lap while he's at it. Yep, Jackson Barry deciding that P3 will do in whatever shape and form it comes. And that will do us for our final provisional race, as unfortunately Chandra Tamang unable to get back out there on track. Eddie Bullock, Alex Gouveia, and Brock Lindorf all not starting that one there. So the drivers now final chance to acclimate themselves with a 5-minute warm-up, and the drivers will see out the full 5 minutes. So I think what we'll do here, Jay, is we'll take a short break on SimSpeed TV and roll a couple of ads, catch our breath as well. And then when we come back, 20 minutes of racing is left to come to decide which one of our 24 finalists will get themselves a drive in the Formula RX8 at Winton in 2 weeks' time. Stay with us here on SimSpeed TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Both go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we're back here with the Formula RX8 Esports Challenge, thanks to Slipstream Autosport and the Yellow Express. And, well, the driver's currently in the middle of warm-up here before they get cracking for the 20-minute final. But looks like, unfortunately, I didn't actually quite catch what caused it out on track, but absolute carnage on the exit of Forest Elbow caught my eye at the very least. So we're going to go to a replay of that in just a second. But if you haven't tuned in yet, a new event from Ivan Vantaggiato at Slipstream Autosports and Formula RX8, offering the winner of tonight's race, barring any post-race investigations and penalties awarded, a drive in a Formula RX8 brand new one-make series coming up, starting to. So this is what's happening. Okay, so a pair of solo spins for Max Christensen. I think it was Kobe Williams. No, that's purple rims. Being told it's Hayden Veld. And then,
that explains the end of it.
Right. Yes. Okay, so just a wee bit intentional from Kobe Williams to pile on in and flip Alex Newton on his lid. And Braden, pardon me for Braden, if I can find him on the list. Braden Taylor in the 74 also getting piled into that one there. So, letting off some steam, it seems, for the Eclipse Sim Sport drivers, which, actually, to be honest, Jay, that's not too unexpected, knowing some of their antics. So, we'll admit, it does make things look a little bit childish, but thankfully, it's not on screen to kind of show off how bad it is. So, we'll take a moment here to sort of try and focus up for what's to come. Drivers from Split 1 on the inside lane up against the pit wall. Our drivers from Heat 2, will be on the outside lane, trying to swing around the outside into turn number 1 at Hell Corner. And our LCQ participants will be, of course, at the back for positions to try and get themselves forward to have a chance at being up near the front. But we're looking at either 8 or 9 laps. It really depends on how much the drivers are willing to cooperate in the opening laps and push themselves for fast times to start off with. So they're going to have to be mindful of how many laps they get complete here, I think, tonight, Jay, because, of course, that white flag flies early. That may sort of mix things up if they're looking for a 9-lapper and get 8 instead.
Yeah, I guess the one positive is it's a fixed setup, so they don't have to worry about organising fuel and things like that. Be already pre-done. Yeah, making sure they know which lap is the final lap and not trying to push too early would be the difference.
So here is the starting order. As you said, drivers from Heat 1 on the inside row, meaning it'll be Thomas McMillan, who won that opening heat, with Damon Woods leading our Heat 2 drivers on the outside row to kick things off. Dylan Burst and Tom Katsadonis will share row number 2. Max Christensen and Josh Perwin out of 5th and 6th place. 7th and 8th go to Oscar Ames and Hayden Vell. The top 10 rounded out by Harry Inwood and Damien Brasher. Row 6 will be shared by Kobe Williams and Jeff Connell. 13th to Cody Deeth, with Leslie Reeves starting alongside him in 14th place. Braden Taylor out of P15 sharing row 8 with Alexander Newton there in the number 13. Luke Scott and Amber Griffin off of 17th, 18th. 20th is James Zeitz and Brock Thompson. Chancellor, Mitchell, Barry and Hogan, your final 4 cars. As with the 1-minute grid timer, they are away here for our Formula RX8 Esports Challenge, and it's going to be McMillan from Woods as they go single file at the front. Oh, trouble! Ames has spun solo on the exit. I saw contact on the exit, which has caught up at least. Oh, might make it 4 cars as they all pile in on the outside of turn 1, and that immediately will probably mean we say goodbye to a couple of competitors unless they're willing to stick it out here. Now they're a long way off the back.
going to be tough for him to achieve anything out of this, but never say never in these sort of races. But we've got about a 6-car breakaway. The second group, led by Hayden Veld, really going to have to work hard as a group to make something happen. Jeff Connell, Kobe Williams together at the back of that group with Hayden Veld and Harry Inwood. Don't discount them. Looks like the top 10 potentially. Oh, here we go. Deep up the inside. Yeah. He's trying to get on the back of that group too.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might want to go to the front of the field even, because we had ourselves 3 wide for half a second on the exit of the cutting. McMillan checking up Woods, which then caused Burst to swing out to the left. Katzenarrington gets into his right rear and nearly spins the 68 around, which means that's going to, if they do that some more, well, that'll give those, you see that second pack of drivers a chance to latch on, and indeed, they are there now. So basically, everyone back to Jeff Connell, top 10, in with a shout at this stage. As down the S as they come for the first time. Cold tyres caught out drivers here in Heat 1. Looks like for now it's going to be okay. As trouble at the top was Skyline. 37 of Taylor Mitchell's round backwards, and a couple of cars scatter, and that was Zeitz in the fence.
He just got hit.
Mitchell's been smashed into. It's going to have to be Luke Scott, I think. Or was that Amber Griffin? Not sure which one of them has caught up. It was Scott.
Oh, looks a bit sick, doesn't it? But the front of the field, that 10-car train. I feel like these are the 10 that could potentially win it now from here. Cody Death is probably the one name that we are surprised to not see at the front. Remember, he didn't have a great run, so he's going to have to work hard now to get back into this lead group. Only 4 seconds back. These guys are not sorted as well as you would expect, as Kobe Williams up the inside of Harry Inwood. Cody Death will have to work hard to get to the back of Jeff Connolly. He's got 4 seconds to find. You have to try and make Braden Taylor, Shane Chancellor, Alexander Newton all work to help him to get there.
It's always just going to be down to who can push well. If 2 cars pushing along can maybe, just maybe, catch up to this top 10, which has already almost started fragmenting again back into 2 groups of 5, as Woods now leads McMillan at end of lap 1, round turn 1, with Dylan Burst and Tom Castanos right in behind as well. And of course, Josh Perwin not too far behind. Then the gap opens a little bit to Hayden Veld as McMillan inside of Woods. So it looks like they might play a bit of just crisscrossing it back and passing the lead back and forth, as it were, between these two, as Dylan Burst going to give McMillan the push up the inside early on the brakes. And yeah, the Slipstream Autosport cars of Katsadonis and Perwin too far back to make a move of it just yet on this one. So they will settle in as Ames and Luke Scott on the back of the field have come down the pits along with Taylor Mitchell towing. So I do believe, unfortunately, that brings us down to 21 drivers circulating on track for this one here out of the 24 starters after our opening lap. So we're going to be looking at points instead now. What can Cody Death do from further back in that field? As we go to a replay here of lap on this one, I just caught off screen. Contact. So yeah, it was a big check up and contact. And then watch this from Katsadonis and Burst. That little wiggle there got me worried for half a second, but they sorted it out.
Yep. That checkup brought this group back in together. Instead of being a 6 and a 4 car group, it is now one big group of 10. It's big how much these guys are fighting at the front. Surprised that they're fighting as aggressively as they are this early on. McMillan leading the way. Probably not wanting to be in that position, but he doesn't have much choice at the moment because no one else wants to be there either.
As you said, this whole game of who wants to be the leader. Surely no one wants to be the leader. In the first couple laps, maybe not so important, but of course, one of the things we were mentioning just at the end of the heat race and also off air, this whole game of where do you want to be at the start of the final lap? Because we know the draft is incredibly strong. Dylan Burst taking the lead of the race with it down Conrad Straight. McMillan for a second there, it looked like maybe having to think about taking a spot away, but then opting not to instead, as this top 10 continues. Single snake, 10 cars, 2.6 seconds is the number as they round Murray's and come across the line to start lap 3 of this race. And I think unfortunately for Cody Death, he's got a pushing partner of sorts. Braden Taylor's about nearly 4.5 tenths off. Back at his
not enough at the moment, is it? He's what, about half a second off the pace on that lap from the guys that he's trying to chase down. So 4.6 seconds, it was down about 4.2, so hasn't quite got enough, but they get some more help coming at the back, and these guys at the front continue to start fighting like they are. There'll be lots of checkups, lots of guys that are going to have to get out of the throttle. McMillan goes back through. It's not over. It's going to be very, very difficult, but it's not over yet.
This whole, yes, this whole, you can see here the Eclipse cars almost sort of trying to position themselves to get together as yep, Kobe Williams on the inside of Berwin puts himself in the wall on the apex of the cutting. He's going to check up a couple of cars at the back, such as Harry Inwood and Max Christensen, and it splits the group again. So now it's from Perwin and Connell off the back of the group. Hayden Veld's almost isolated there in the middle all by himself. So just like that, they split apart. And that might be a little catalyst that Cody Death needs, because now all of a sudden the gap is 3 seconds, not 4, to the cars ahead of him. Although he then needs to make his way through this group unaffected. So again, the moving and shaking here as drivers and almost team tickets. Slipstream Motorsport in the hands of Katsadonis and Perwin, and Eclipse with Dylan Burst, Damon Woods, Hayden Veld, and Kobe Williams at the front of this field, all trying to, I guess, coordinate, negotiate, set themselves up so they can control a part of this racetrack. And as a result, when elbows get out when it's not your teammates that you're alongside, it can get messy pretty quick.
The issue with that is it's maybe you're not battling with your teammates, but battling that you're doing can affect your teammates at the same time. So there's a real risk and reward factor going on as Burst McMillan side by side into the chase, and here comes Damon Woods as well. He will get clear of McMillan. No, he won't. He'll tuck back in behind, and his crew all of a sudden did fracture out. It's starting to close back up into 2 groups of 5 once more. And have a look at Cody Death's not that far away again.
Yeah, once again, if that back group of 5 keeps fighting, I mean, at this rate, it might be more a case of if this front 5 keeps getting elbows out, because it's not much. It's only a couple of tenths they'll be losing through the apex of the chase when they do that, but that'll just mean time lost. If that back 5 stays in a line, commits to, right, let the leader get his position right through the apex, and everyone follow him through. As we go to a quick replay here of that previous lap, and watch for the 94. Cooper's here, tries for the inside of Perwin, but there's not a cars with there, and he's scraping up against the apex wall, and it sees this back half here, try and get around it, but not really get enough momentum to do so. So it checks up, and there you go now, Dylan Burst defending from McMillan into Griffin's Bend. Once again, it checks up the pack, and there you go, next 5 start rejoining the top 10 train.
That almost felt like it was a little bit of desperation from Kobe Williams to get up with his teammates and make sure they were all together, didn't it? Didn't really feel like a move that would normally happen in a race like this, but you know, with the draft being so important, all of the team cars all wanted to be together to be able to basically take the race away from everyone else. Kobe Williams wanted to get up there with them, couldn't get there at that time, so they've worked well as a group to get back together, but
McMillan,
this is going to fracture again. I can feel it.
Or is that Burst rolling out? I have to say, it's not normal, of course. I have to say, it's a bit of ambition from McMillan, but at the same time, wouldn't be too surprised if maybe he's not in the team colours, but maybe a little bit of coordination going on there as well. Either way, of course, it results in them switching places. Although he's, parks it up in the is this what I think this might be?
This could be them trying to check the field up and let Cody Death back in. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm starting to think that too, because that was all of a sudden McMillan in way deep, although there we go, Woods to the right-hand side of McMillan as they work down corridor. Burst gets in line for the push, and here comes Kat Sedonis in the first of the slipstream cars, although Veld jumps on the brakes, not getting into the rear of that lone slipstream car as they come into the kink. And then Perwin and Connell are going to arrive, and McMillan still try and gets into the rear of Woods. Side by side, they go 2 wide, 3 deep through the apex of the chase, and now we get notice how contact as this group really starts getting messy.
Yeah, this is getting a bit too aggressive, isn't it? This is going to end in tears for someone. But, I mean, the fact that they're still sort of staying in the right direction at the moment is a fast thought. Oh, no, right on cue.
Drives it. Yeah, apologies, 1929. They common numbers, but I've got them the wrong way around. Tom Katsadonis, that's him done, unfortunately, in this chance to fight for the real life seat. It does mean that we technically have 10 in the fight, although not really, I'd argue it is now down to 9. Cody Death would like to be in it, but he's not close. And that's a case of just overdriving it through the final corner. Go back and have a quick look at it on replay here as well. So Catanero is outside of the two Slipstream cars, and then he's got one of the Clips cars, but he does it all by himself. They're just going to keep the speed up through the exit of the corner.
Yeah, he also got a bit of the grass on the way into the corner too, didn't he? So he did have a little bit of trouble getting it pulled up as Hayden Veld up the inside just barely. And have a look at who's there now too. No.
And there we go. More carnage as they now start to thin the herd out. With 8 minutes to go. Max Christensen, one of the innocent bystanders, is going to be taken out of this one now. And our pack is down to 4 as Jeff Connell's been, well, had to check up there and all of that. So this is it now. It was 10 and it's now this 4-car group. So quite quickly, it's now an Eclipse show with McMillan in alternate colours. He's going to go back to another replay to discuss it. It's once again a big dive up the inside. This one maybe a little bit more likely to succeed here, I would say, Jay. Perwin defends, but he can't cover it off. And they come to the exit.
Just run wide.
And I think you have to say that is entirely on Hayden Veld for running wide with a car on his outside, yeah.
Slipped up the track a little bit too much. Take too much in these cars to cause a big moment. Hayden Veld's had another moment across the top of the mountain too, so maybe day done. I can see mechanical black flags lighting up the screen. Shane Chancellor, Max Christensen and Hayden Veld all with mechanical black flags, so they are pretty much day done. Cody Death has broken a little bit of a gap from the group that Jeff Connell has entered back in, but he has huge damage to the front of his car. He's way down on top speed, so I think he's done as well. So could it be the top 4 and Death as the last runners that could potentially win this? 3 laps to go.
Across the line, 7 minutes, and just looking at you see when it comes up here as they come to the line. 7 minutes and 10 there for Death, although the leaders are actually up the road by a good 5 seconds. So 7:15. Yeah, we are looking at 3 laps here as Woods has had a good run off of Hell Corner as you see them there in the foreground. I think for Death, he's the outside hope if the top 4 completely self-destruct. And if you can just keep clear, I mean, yeah, looking at the way they've been going, they've been a bit crazy, to say the least. Now,
this is Shane Chancellor. He was absolute innocent bystander, racing just by himself. Comes around the corner. And, well, where do you go? What do you do?
Not a great place to come across, but if I might add, I'm not sure if it's because I'm also spectating the session myself, but was there a lot of throttle lift there at Chancellor, which might have helped if there wasn't a lot of the spinners? Here we go. Woods to the inside of McMillan. They can take it too wide through the grate in these Mazda MX-5s, up on the curve for the 56. And they get through, but they're going to commit to the side-by-side on the entry to McPhillamy. Cars with left, and they can make it work. Side-by-side for Skyline. No. Woods will yield, this time by at least. But maybe a bit more testing again to see what are the limits of the cars as Woods hot down through the S's into the dipper there. McMillan actually disappearing from front of him for a second, which would have definitely given him a bit of a spook. It's not something you want to be seeing when you're daring to run that close nose to tail. And there you go, pushing the absolute limits there for Damon Woods on the exit of Forest Elbow, because that was certainly close to spinning it up like we saw for Brock Thompson back in that opening heat race as well, where he clipped the wall and got the rough side of it here.
2 to go when they cross the line, and still 4 seconds back is Death, so I think he may be done. It's top 4, they will battle it out all the way, and sure they're all working together on the same team, but I think on that last lap, the old saying of there's no friends in racing will start to come out. I think they will all fight and fight hard on that last lap.
It's the thing, isn't it? They're all here to win the same prize, and only one of them can walk away with it. So, realistically, indeed, they might all be sharing team colours, but once that white flag flies and the chances to get a move done to take a spot for the W shrink, as you say, I don't think there'll be team orders or friends out on the track either. So another time around Hell Corner, another good run for Damon Woods as he gets up to the bumper of McMillan once more. He's going to cover the inside line towards turn 2. That allows Burst and Williams to close in after they fell back a little bit. Williams is going to go early to the racing line and in fact try and swing around the outside of Griffin's Bend, but again, outside the crown, outside the camber. But he actually gets a bit of an exit and maybe a hint of slipstream as well. He will jump from 4th to 2nd in August. He's going to dive again. Oh, please don't, Kobe.
Definitely thought about it, didn't he? He was considering making a lunge, but backed out of it. Just seeing Harry Inwood, who was in 6th or 7th position, had a tech issue and he's dropped from the service, so his race done as well. So we're left with 16 on the lead lap. No, I take that back. We're left with 18 on the lead lap. Thought that we might end up with about half, but we've still got 3 quarters going.
Technically 19 as well. Luke Scott's
Oh, yes. Yep.
actually just up the road from
Just
these
ahead of
4
these guys.
cars. So this is actually interesting here. They will be in a blue flag situation, potentially. Not on this lap by the looks of things, but maybe the last lap. The gap for Luke Scott. Oh, McMillan apparently has found the fence on the exit of the dipper. A bit of a rub up. Just checked up this quartet a little bit. You're on board with your race leader off Forest Elbow. Looking back at Kobe Williams here in P2. And once again, watch for the first of the Eclipse cars here to get the run. And probably look to go side by side. Although, still here, does Kobe Williams just damage there on the front affect the top speed? Pulls out. Nope, he's still got the overspeed on McMillan. Woods will go with Dylan Burst hanging off the back. Is not going to be able to contest here on straight line. Is he close enough to have an eye on the brakes? No. Too far back. McMillan dives up the inside, holds 2nd place down. So the 94 is sent to the race leads. We're coming to the white flag this time by AJ, as you said. The 94 of Kobe Williams is the one in the hot seat. What can you make of it from the race leaders? They're still kind of side by side behind. So a bit of buffer margin as they'll come across the line to take the white flag.
Yep, Barney's got that white flag waving. And what will they be able to do from the front? With this 4-car train, Cody Deck's only 2.5 seconds back, so he's still in this race. These guys are going to battle on this last lap, so don't be surprised if this is a 5-car fight right at the end of the race. But Williams now leading from McMillan, Woods, Burst.
And there we go.
Where do you want to be on the last lap? That is my big question. What position do you want to be? I don't think I want to be P1. I think if you're in P2, maybe P3, that's where you want to be. P1 is not where you want to be. Oh, no!
Oh, Max Christensen, I'm sorry. That was actually disgraceful. He moved over to try and block Thomas McMillan. He's put McMillan in the fence as he tried to stay side by side with the leaders. So now Kobe Williams versus Damon Burst, because Damon Woodstock is Dylan Burst has dropped off the back, and he might even fall back towards Cody Deethers. Oh, Barry's going off at turn 2 and taking Luke Hogan with him. What in the devil has happened there? Oh, a big fight for Barry was with Brock Thompson and Alexander Newton. Has gotten them all entangled up in the wrong kind of way. But, well, there were 4 and now there's 2 as the leaders cross the top of Skyline. And McPhillamy, sorry, into Skyline here for the last time.
So getting out of the way there, Luke Scott. A very good job. Out of the way, making sure he doesn't get involved. And Dylan Burst somehow has found himself in 3rd position. After what a bizarre race he's had, now in 3rd. Yeah, Woods and Williams. It's going to come down to them too. We have the final run down Conrad Straight for the night.
All right, here we go. Big lunge from Damon Woods there, of course, at the elbow, but the slipstream coming back in Kobe Williams' favour. How much are these drivers willing to put on the line for this drive in a Formula RX8 car in 2 weeks' time at Winton Motor Raceway? Woods will defend to the inside, and Williams is only going to barely get overlap on him here under brakes. And in fact, unless he goes for the lunge at Murray's corner, this might have just been agreed upon. Woods will defend the inside line, so Williams has to make something stick round the outside here for something to happen. Side by side on the brakes, and Williams on the brakes first. I think he's just waved the white flag. It will be Damon Woods across the line. He will win the feature race that will earn him the win, provisionally speaking, for that Formula RX8 drive at the Winton Motor Raceway. And Eclipse 1, 2, 3, 4. But that incident with McMillan and Max Christensen as well leaves a lot to be questioned, and we'll have to see what race control make of it here as to how things decided is. We'll go to the replay here. Now, my biggest one is watch that from Christensen. He's moving over.
Well, that's a big
and
movement.
yeah, I'm sorry. He was told to move to the right-hand side of the track, so I just have no words for it apart from that. For Max Christensen, that is disgraceful and honestly didn't belong in this race in any way, shape, or form. Whilst it had been aggressive driving tonight, it had been good driving from the Eclipse guys and McMillan as well. They'd been fair about it until apparently and the race results, we'll bring them up on screen now, and also bring Ivan Vantacciato back into the commentary box as, well, unfortunately that one there, Ivan, controversy going to mar the finish there and knock out Thomas McMillan's chances of going for the win and the prize tonight. But for Damon Woods, would I be correct in assuming that he will be able to walk away with the win and the prize tonight at this stage?
At this stage, we do have a little bit of a controversial situation happening at the moment. There will be a post-race investigation that will be taking place. Now we can say that Damon, I mean, he drove tremendously all night. Everybody did. It's been an unbelievable event. I mean, the guys, everybody put on a show. The finale was spectacular. However, there is a post-race investigation that needs to take place, and the penalties could be really harsh.
Yes, we imagined as much, given that, well, that was it did involve a lapped car, but yeah, questions of, affiliations and allegiances and such, obviously making that one a bit messy for you. So what we might do is we might leave you to head back to the commentary or steward's box in that case, Ivan.
Thanks, Ivan.
Let you get back to work and make your decision.
Right.
And
thank you very much. Back, I hope you guys are still live. Give me a moment to see what we can do.
We'll do what we can there, indeed. So, unfortunately, at the end of the Formula RX8 Esports Challenge, controversial to probably say it subtly, as we'll leave.
It's an understatement. Yeah, it's definitely controversial, and there's going to be a lot to be discussed within race control and the drivers as well. I think there's going to be a lot of bad blood that'll come from this, but it's definitely changed the way the result is. But no discounting the performance from Damon Woods. He drove brilliantly, in that race, and Kobe Williams drove aggressively, but he was able to do enough to help his teammate pick up the win. I don't think Kobe was ever looking for the win himself. It looked like he was just there to try and help his teammates.
Yeah, I mean, that might definitely seem to be the case, because he wasn't very aggressive there on Damon Woods when it was just the two of them on the final lap there, and basically allowing the 56 to control that one down Conrad Straight into the chase and Murray's Bend. So, unfortunately, there's not much we can do apart from wait a couple of minutes and see if we do have a confirmation from Ivan Vantacciato as the organizer as to whether they will have a decision for us before we wrap things up here tonight. And hopefully not leave us one on too much of a sour note, given that, I have to say credit to Kobe Williams, able to keep his nose clean there in the feature race, from what I could see, getting up from P11 to finish in second place there tonight. So it was a fair move by Kobe, but as you said, definitely also playing it safe. I think other good news to know is Brayden Taylor, Jay, from 15th place on the grid after a rough run of it there in Heat 1, up to P5 by keeping his nose clean in the feature. So definitely some race results to be encouraged looking further on down here tonight in the final.
Yeah, 100%. There were some really good finishes throughout the field. So that is the results as they stand at this present moment. But there's a lot of chatter going on in the incident reporting chat on the event Discord. So I feel like this is going to take a lot longer to sort out than a few minutes. I think this is going to go late into the night, unfortunately. But while we wait a couple more minutes just to see if we get a result, the next week here on SimSpeed, absolutely huge week of SimSpeed action. We've got SudSpeed returning, SudSpeed Sports Car Series LMP2 this season, starting on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, the final round of the Pro Qualifying Series for the Logitech G Pro Invitational Series. Thursday, we've got the rerun of the ODSE Dirt event. Then Friday night, Sunday night, V8 Scops. Sunday afternoon, we've got the majors running the German Grand Prix from 1967 in the Lotus 49s. And iRacing Grand Prix Tour resumes on the weekend as well.
I was going to say, yeah, you've got a pretty crazy week. I'm actually going to slip on some... I'm slipping on the driving gloves. I've decided apparently that I'll give the LMP2s a whirl with SudSpeed. So hopefully not make a complete hash of things on Tuesday night personally. But, well, you say I'm not busy, but then again...
Yes, you're admitting V8 Scops now, so...
Scop supports and V8 Scop's new role for me with the series for 2024. Takes me out of the commentary box, at least. That is true, but I'll certainly be trying to feed you plenty of bits and pieces to work with there. But yes, also my usual broadcast, the Racecraft Simulations veterans now on mid-season break. They'll be back in a couple of weeks' time, though, to kick off their 19th season on the Thursday night. So it'll get me busy once again. And, yeah, unfortunately, it looks like it might take us a while to get a result here. Interesting considerations of requests of a rerun. But, yeah.
We've got a couple more minutes and we'll see what happens here. It's getting quite feisty, actually, between a few of them. So we'll see what happens in the next few minutes. And thanks for sticking with us. There's a lot of viewers that are still here with us, just in case something comes about over the next few minutes. So we'll see what happens. Actually, how about we go to a quick break and then we'll hopefully come back with at least some sort of answer on what the plan is. So let's go to a break and we'll come back. Maybe we'll have some information at least.
Sounds like a good idea indeed. Otherwise, you've got you and I just waffling along. So
yeah, we're not good at it. I mean, we are good at it, but nobody wants to hear that.
Well, yeah, it's definitely questionable, Deeb. So thank you, everyone, for watching the racing action so far tonight. As said there, stick with us here on SimSpeed TV, and we'll get back to you in a couple of minutes with hopefully a little bit more concrete answers as to how the ending is going to be classified here.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, unfortunately, no decision just yet, folks, but reviewing the replay once again here, whilst we're trying to wait on the official decision from the team at Slipstream for this one. This is on board with Max Christensen in this number 69 entry that, as you can see, comes out of the pits on replay and then moves across here to the left-hand side of the track. That's actually letting a lapped car through already. So just when you thought it couldn't get more controversial, we already saw it didn't look good from the TV cams up at Zone 2. And then you watch this here with the steering, Jay, and once, and in fact, once was all it took to see Thomas McMillan spun around. So
it's a definite movement of the wheel to change the line. And the fact he's come out of the pits and that's happened, that is a very interesting moment that obviously part of why it's being discussed aggressively, because the driver was taken out due to, yeah, that's not what we want. That's not what we want to see at any event, whether it's here on SimSpeed or whether it's bottom split. It's something you don't want to see.
No, without a doubt. And yeah, the biggest problem for me is that whilst Max was not racing in Eclipse SimSport colours, he is known to have associate with the Eclipse drivers in the past, and so there is the fact that allegiances between team and personal certainly throws things into question. Well, Ivan Vantaggiato has returned to the SimSpeed Discord, Jay, so I'll bring him in here.
Here we go. We might have an answer.
Again. So Ivan, we've had a look at a couple of replays ourselves, but what do you have to tell us here officially?
I can officially confirm that tomorrow night, non-live streamed event, with a few drivers taken out due to their behavior on track, there will be a rerun.
Okay.
There we have it. Well,
that is that is the only way that we can. It's not fair on a lot of drivers that did the right thing tonight, but unfortunately the actions of a few have impacted everybody, and we will be having a firm discussion with Eclipse to talk about just the driver behavior and some of the. I mean, most of the people in the top 10 were involved in some form of accident with an Eclipse driver. So that's. I'm sorry for Damon because he drove tremendously tonight, but we'll have to come back tomorrow because that's, to me, this is the only way to make this fair.
I think I saw the rerun suggestions come up a little bit there. I think that's probably one of the better ways to go about it, indeed, Ivan. I mean, obviously, unfortunate. First time bringing the Formula RX8 brand to esports and sim racing, and also the chance to promote the Formula RX8 series in real life as well, and unfortunately getting tied up in controversy here tonight. But all in all, hopefully some positives to take away from what you saw out there up and down the field this evening.
Incredible. You know, the consistency, the lap times of the guys. We'll take a close look at the replay, and we will make some tough decisions, and we will make sure that tomorrow night, in a privately held environment, at the hope that the correct outcome is created, where the person that wins it on merit.
Indeed, that's certainly the hope in any situation, prize or not. But thank you for giving a chance to be able to explain things tonight here. And whilst unfortunately said we can't be able to be there to broadcast with you tomorrow night, all the best for the rerun, and hopefully the winner comes out with a clean nose at the end of it all.
Yeah. No, look, thank you so much again. I hope all the viewers enjoyed the show. We certainly did. It was an epic night of MX-5s around the mountain, and yeah, I guess we can't wait to come back again and catch all the action tomorrow from the rerun.
Indeed. Well, in case of people wanting to know about the official result once the rerun is complete, Ivan, where will they be able to find out the latest news once that's all done and dusted and decided and declared official by you guys?
The official will be declared on the Slipstream Autosport socials. We will also be providing a replay of some of the best highlights from tonight as well across our socials, but also on the Formula RX8 Facebook page, where the winner will be announced as well.
Well, there you have it. Ivan Tacciato. Yeah, thanks again for chatting with us here at the end. Unfortunately, controversial ending that we didn't want to have, but also a chance here to get the event up and running, to be able to put it on for the drivers who made it into the 40, and all the best with getting a winner tomorrow night.
Much appreciated. Thank you once again.
And on that bombshell, Jay, I think it's probably going to be time for us to end it here on SimSpeed TV. Big thank you to everyone for joining along with us here tonight, and hopefully there was some diamonds among the rough, as it were, that we got to see across the 2 heats, the last chance qualifier and the feature for this Formula RX8 Esports Challenge to kick off the events here that Formula RX8 are putting on. If you missed the start of the broadcast, they may have some more things coming up across this year, so keep your eyes out across the Formula RX8 socials and the Slipstream Autosport socials by the sounds of things as well. Any closing thoughts from you before we call it a night?
No, I think probably the best way forward for the guys was the rerun. I think that was probably going to be the best decision there, and I don't think they really had a choice with how that race played out. Just wasn't fair to the majority of the drivers with the way it ended. No discounting the result for Damon and Kobe at the front, but I think for the fairness and the integrity of the competition, probably has to be the way it is. Big thanks to the guys from Slipstream for inviting us along. It definitely has been entertaining, no doubt about that.
Indeed. Well, on behalf of SimSpeed Esports Network, my name is Daniel Yeaman. It's been Jay Kennedy here alongside me on cameras and on commentary as well to bring you this first event from the Formula RX8 and Slipstream Autosport on the esports side. Have a good Sunday night, and hopefully catch you sometime during the week with the rest of our broadcast. Take care until then. Have a good rest of your week.